Hello everyone, welcome back to our final segments of the female reproductive system, and today we will quickly wrap up a few important yet often overlooked topics, and the topics are homologous organs and your blood supply, essential blood supply that keeps these organs functioning. So stay tuned till the end for a complete understanding, and if you haven't watched our previous parts, that is from part 1 to part 6, then go and watch those parts for better understanding purpose. Now coming to the homologous organs. So what is this homologous organs? Inside this female and male reproductive organs, there are several organs which is like having the same embryonic origin, okay, same embryonic structure, and their functions also more or less same, okay. That's why we call it as homologous organ. Function same in both female and male body, okay. Those organs are called homologous to each other. Now we will make a list, or we will make a box where we will keep or enlisted those organs and why they are homologous to each other. We will explain one by one. So let's proceed. So homologous organ, okay. And why they are homologous to each other, we will explain here, okay. Let's proceed. So the first homologous organ in female body with male body, that is clitoris. Clitoris inside this female body, homologous to penis in male body. Why they are homologous to each other? Because they arise from genital tubercle, okay. And their functions also same, like both help in sexual arousal. During sexual arousal, both help or both involved in sexual arousal, okay. Now coming to the second organ. This is the first organ. Now coming to the second organ, and that is your labia majora. That is homologous to scrotum, okay. And the explanations is they also arise from, both arises from labioscrotal swelling, or else you can remember genital swelling, okay, genital swellings. And their functions also, like they help in protection, they protect the internal structure, and that's why they are homologous to each other, okay. This is the second organ. Now coming to the third organ, that is your labia minora. Labia minora is homologous to your penile urethra, okay, penile urethra. And why they are homologous to each other? Because they arise from same structure, okay, and that is your urogenital folds. That's why they are homologous to each other, okay. Now coming to the third structure, and that is your ovaries. Ovaries and homologous to male structure, that is testis. Why they are homologous to each other? Because both produce gametes, okay. In female body it is ova, and in male body it is sperms, along gamete along with the sexual hormones, okay. That's why, and they arise from, both arise from genital ridge or gonadal ridge, okay, or genital ridge. Functions also same and arises from the same structure. That's why they are homologous to each other. Coming to the fifth structure, that is your Bartholin gland, okay, Bartholin gland, and that is homologous to bulbourethral gland. See, both B for Bartholin gland and B for bulbourethral gland. Another name of Bartholin gland is vestibular gland. Okay. And another name of this bulbourethral gland is Cowper's gland. Why they are homologous to each other? Because they both secretes lubricating fluid. Okay. Lubricating fluid during intimation or during sex. That's why they are homologous to each other. Coming to the last homologous organ, and that is your Skinny's gland. Okay. Or else we can say it as paraurethral gland. And that is homologous to prostate gland. Again, P for prostate, P for paraurethral gland. Why they are homologous to each other? Because both help in lubrication and both arise from genital sinus or urogenital sinus, and that's why they are homologous to each other. So what are the homologous organs of female and male reproductive system? That is, first one is your clitoris, homologous to penis because they arises from genital tubercle. Second one is labia majora, homologous to scrotum, both arises from genital swelling or labioscrotal swelling. Third one is labia minora, homologous to penile urethra, and they arises from your urogenital folds. Ovaries, homologous to testis, and both produces the gametes and hormones, means functions also same, and both arises from the gonadal ridge, means origin also same. That's why they are homologous to each other. Now coming to the Bartholin glands, B for Bartholin glands, homologous to bulbourethral gland, B for bulbourethral gland. Why they are homologous to each other? Because both secretes lubricating fluid. Okay. And the Skinny's gland, that is paraurethral glands, homologous to prostate glands. And why they are homologous to each other? Because they both secretes this help in lubrication and both arises from the genital sinus. That's all about your homologous organ. Now coming to your blood supply. So your female reproductive system, major reproductive organ is supplied by major arteries or veins to supply those bloods and for maintaining the proper functioning. So those major blood supply comes from the bunches of different important arteries and veins. We will include it one by one. So again we will make a list here like this. We will write in one side the organs, okay, and we will enlisted the blood supplied by which arteries or veins we will enlist in this side. So your first organ is your ovaries, okay, ovary. This ovary is supplied by ovarian artery. This is branch of your abdominal artery, okay, you have to remember. And vein is ovarian vein, as simple as that. So your ovary is supplied by your ovarian artery as well as ovarian vein. Second one is your uterus, okay. Uterus is supplied by your uterine artery. This is the branch of internal iliac artery. Sometimes questions came from this internal iliac artery. And venous drainage is uterine vein. So uterus is supplied by uterine artery, branches of internal iliac artery and uterine vein. Now the third structure is your fallopian tube, okay. Fallopian tube. This fallopian tube, the arterial supply is, see, this is your uterus and this is your fallopian tube, right? And here is your ovary. So this fallopian tube is supplied both from this uterus and both another side ovary also. So if we say the blood supply of fallopian tube, then it will supplied by ovarian artery also as well as your uterine artery also. Okay, so uterine artery from the medial side. So median part supplied by this uterine artery and ovarian part from the lateral side. Okay, so that's all about your fallopian artery. Now the fourth structure is vagina. So vagina is supplied by your vaginal artery. This vaginal artery is branch of uterine as well as internal iliac arteries. Iliac artery as well as this vaginal artery along with the internal pudental artery. Okay, and the venous drainage is vaginal venous plexus. So this is the arterial and venous supply of vagina. The fifth structure is your cervix. So cervix is supplied by your descending cervical artery. That is also branch of uterine artery. Okay. The sixth structure is your vulva. Means the outer portion, external genital organ. Okay, this is the external genital organ and this is supplied by your internal pudental artery. This is the lower part. Okay, so that's all about the blood supply. We will recall again. The ovary is supplied by ovarian artery, ovarian vein. As simple as that. Uterus is supplied by uterine artery, uterine vein. As simple as that. Fallopian tube is the middle part of your uterus and your ovary. So it will get supplied both from the uterine artery and your ovarian artery. Okay. Now vagina is supplied by vaginal artery. As simple as that. And from the lower part, that is internal pudental arteries. Okay. Cervix is supplied by descending cervical artery, that is a branch of uterine artery. And the vulva, the external genital organ, that is supplied by your internal pudental artery. So the leftover thing was homologous organ and blood supply of your female reproductive system. We covered it here. So here we end up with the whole female reproductive system, and in the next chapter we will discuss regarding the menstrual cycle.